What is up, guys, and welcome to another play and explain video from PLO Poker Coaching. We are playing some small stakes tonight on Ignition, playing PLO 25. And want to let you guys know, make sure that you subscribe below, because we are going to be having a giveaway this week for 2 hours of free coaching. So make sure you stay tuned and look out for that video with the instructions of how to apply and win those 2 hours. But right now we are getting into some small stakes, as that has been requested, and I know a lot of you guys watching are playing PLO 25, PLO 50. So we will be sharing some exploits that you can do at these stakes. Honestly, one of the biggest things that you can do is protect your check back range and play very aggressively against checks and passive lines. So honestly, you can take some very out of line positions against some of these players. Here on the top left, we flop top 2 with a backdoor flush draw. No real need to raise here in position. If we are going to get it in on the flop in position, we do actually need a bit of a premium, just because we're giving up our positional advantage at such a high SPR. This guy goes ahead and pots. Without blockers, it makes it most likely that he has some sort of draw here. We do turn 3 pair. You know, obviously you can have sets. I don't think that we can fold the turn. Again, I don't know if we want to raise here, but 3 pair with no spades is probably a candidate if there was one. I'm actually tempted to raise, just blocking so much of the board in a heads up spot. So let's go ahead and put it in. And he does end up folding. Not the worst result. We could definitely face some very difficult rivers in that scenario. And again on the top left, we flop a weak flush draw with a blocker to the straight. It's a hand that I am actually going to play pretty aggressively. I don't mind bet folding this hand. Sure, we're going to get check raised by a straight a lot of the time, but when we get check called, that's not a great turn without a pair blocker. And he leads half pot. Usually this is quite polarizing at these stakes. Like if he has a bear 6, like on this type of board, he's probably not even leading. So I'm tempted to actually just fold here without a pair blocker. We're obviously drawing very thin against value. He can still definitely bet straights there on the turn with a flush blocker, with a pair blocker, sorry. I'm just folding bottom left and folding here on the top left. So as I said, aggression is going to be your friend at these stakes. Usually, to think of a very general mindset, you want to play aggressively against passive actions, and then you likely want to overfold or play very cautiously against aggressive lines. We do call here just because of the size of the bet and the price that we're getting with our gut shot. Obviously going to be folding to any further action. And if this wasn't 5-way against these min bets, like, I'm always going to raise. I'm even tempted to do it here with the Queen of Diamonds, just because these hands are so weak. We're just very likely to get called in this spot. Yeah. Basically, if you're playing heads up, or at least like 3-way against min bets, I'm basically always raising. This isn't the worst. We definitely have some rivers that we can bluff. But when we get called in a few spots and this guy's 12 big blinds behind, we really need to hit an offsuit 10. Here we flop top pair gut shot. We're never getting these guys to fold anything, so there's really no sense in bang. If they both have missed draws, fantastic, but yeah, I mean, see, not folding there with the no flush draw. And we did end up checking on this board, which isn't the worst because we can just check jam against the stack size with 2 backdoor flush draws, top pair, and the gut shot. You also really want to make sure that you're comfortable with your 3-bet game and comfortable playing in 3-bet pots, even if you're playing wider ranges. Actually going to raise this hand at these stakes. The reason I say that is there's going to be so many multi-way pots when you kind of raise and overcall. And you really want to, if you have an edge in the game, that edge is going to be the largest when you're playing heads up pots, especially in position. So you want to make sure that you are really raising aggressively pre-flop and 3-betting aggressively pre-flop, because then you can actually get the pots down to, you know, heads up or 3-way max. So here we do have 2 pair and a straight draw blocker and a gut shot on the low end. Here I am actually going to c-bet with the straight draw blocker. I don't mind checking behind here, just because this hand is going to play decently on runouts that aren't usually good for our range. Like in terms of straight draws, like we have a pretty good bluff catcher. This guy's somewhat short and will be check raising a lot. As you get short in stack size, obviously much reduced required equity to stack off, so that means that the check raising range for the out of position player goes way up. And again, I'm basically meant to raise that. Basically going to raise these min bets pretty much all day in a heads up pot. If he jams, guess we call off with no spade. Not a great river. I'm being tempted to actually fold. There's just really nothing that we beat at this point. So I guess we save the 10 big blinds, but I mean, it'd be interesting to see this hand, but he likely just has like some sort of bad flush draw, which is why we go ahead and raise that kind of hand against this min bet, whereas against a regular player we would never actually go ahead and raise there. And we get the double pair double suited top left, so we will be 3-betting against the button. turn, we flop relatively well. So, somewhat of a connected board. Going to hit his range decently. We definitely can check call. I don't mind going for a lead here. The issue is if we get raised, we're really not loving it. We could go small bet. And on this turn card specifically, we will have the polarity advantage, leading the flop and not getting raised. Most of his nut flush draws here, queen high flush draw, because obviously it's a pair 2, are going to lead, so we will have a decent amount of continues here. We have a weak 2 pair here. I mean, probably not a bad fold, to be honest. So we can go ahead and bet again, unblocking all of the pairs, but again, he's probably raising, so I don't mind checking. We'll keep in some straight draws, and obviously check call. You shouldn't have like too many 2 pairs or sets, just because in this situation, they're likely going to raise. Goes for the half pot size bet on the turn. I mean, we are going to call 1 and then probably have to check fold the river, just because we do have a very weak flush here. And we do river the straight flush. And I think that we do just want to go ahead and pot. There will be some flushes. Like when we think about it, what's the value in the check raise? Not really. In case he does decide to check back a kind of lower flush, I think we just go ahead and pot. He's not folding any flush, and he shouldn't be leading too many other hands on the turn. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's interesting to see what hands on the turn there that he's leading and then folding on a flush run out. Potentially could have called with a pair and then a flush blocker, and then decided to turn it into a bluff. We get min 3-bet. Obviously not folding. It's a pretty decent flop. I mean, we will not have much of a betting range here, and we do turn the nizzles. Again here against this bet size, I mean, we're just jamming and just calling top right. And this guy bets $1 and gives up and leaves the table, and we're fine. If we're against the 10 here, it's fair enough. We have right. We have enough equity to stack off here at this SPR. And we can get called by worse, even though it is kind of unlikely. This guy jams, which is delightful. Not looking good top left against the 10 for sure. And dead on the turn. And we run into the same hand. This will be pretty loose, but I do want to, I do kind of want to open it at this table. Not recommended. And this is why, obviously, this is about as good a flop as we can ask for. But we're going to end up being 4-way in these types of spots. So Just gonna fold here, given that we're gonna be out of position to this player. He hasn't raised yet once. It's probably a decent range. No reason to raise. Top right. And now it's kind of pretty gross. Leading the flop into 4 people. And blocking spades and blocking the straight draw. I think that we actually want to fold this, which seems super tight. And 2 better boats. So on the turn, I think we can go ahead and bet here after the flop checks back on a blank. We do have some rivers that we can bluff, straightening cards, and spades. Not ideal that we get raised, but this is quite interesting. I think that if we call, though, there's so little left behind that our blocker is less relevant for sure. Now these stakes just multi-way, like I'm going to go ahead and bet. It is very likely we have the best hand. Yes, turns are going to be a little difficult, potentially, but we do have a flush blocker. Yeah, it's interesting. What does he check back on the flop and then raise on a deuce? Like actually pocket deuces, maybe. If we call, is he going to fold deuces? The 3/4 bet size left. I think we probably just fold here. He's playing very aggressive though. Let's call. Oh, we timed out. Probably for the best. And top right, pretty great turn card. Here I just treat this as we have the nuts. So I'm gonna go ahead and pot. Yeah, top left. I didn't actually realize that we had the gut shot too, so probably just wanted to check call there with the gut shot, and then on flush draw blocker. The check call line is likely preferred, just because when you bet hands like that with the ace of spades as well, which is a potentially good card to use on the river, you can get raised off the EV of that particular hand, like we did there. Whereas we could have gone ahead and check called that turn for sure. So I think a mistake there, but all good. And there were some requests for longer videos. I think that I'm probably going to keep it at the 30-minute mark and just put out more videos. 30 seems to be like a good spot. I mean, if we start doing 45 or an hour, it's pretty long. Once we get to enough followers and we start streaming, yes, we'll put in some obviously longer sessions on stream because it's more interactive and a bit more interesting. So make sure you're sharing, liking, and following. And once we get up to maybe 750, 1,000 followers, we'll start looking to do some live streaming. But for now, I think we'll just put out some more content, same length. And this is going to be a pretty awkward hand to play as a check back. So I will go ahead and bet here when check 2. I will reduce the bet size down to half or a third pot, given that this guy is so short. But I do think that I want to bet here. Let me get the snap call. To me, feels like a draw usually when there's that kind of snap call action, and not a nut draw at that. So we do block the turn 2 pair, and we do have like good blockers on the straight. The thing is these are not really any sort of good future blockers. I'm going to call against this very wide player. Once you start getting this short, these future blockers are really not worth anything. One, because it's a two-tone board, and obviously there can be a club on the river and your kings are not worth anything. But also this guy is extremely short, and so like if he calls this bet and the river's like a 9, he's not going to fold because, you know, he doesn't have the nut straight. So just checking top right. This is definitely a very wide call, but you know, with this guy and this guy behind, these are the types of hands that I'm going to play with some sort of like nutted equity. You just get very good implied odds on your money, and you know, have certain runouts where you can stack these types of players. So as you can see, these tables are quite good, and this is a weekday evening, so you really, when you're playing sort of PLO 25, you're a little bit less concerned with playing at the best times, just because the pool is usually pretty good. You're not really worried about whether there's going to be weak players. You're more so worried about if you can beat the Rake. So spend more time on Rake calculations and what you actually need at your table to win, which is going to be pretty tough at these stakes. And I would say worry less about the time that you're playing, because as you can see, 83, 78, 100, 53, 75, 73. People at PLO 25 are not really too worried about their pre-flop ranges. Here forward, I think that we're just gonna struggle a little bit here. I mean, this guy has a pretty low aggression frequency, so it just makes it likely that he has a jack. Bang into 4 people, and he's relatively short, and we're not really going to be able to maneuver too much. And obviously we see the limps here at PLO 25, and we will be raising it up. Here we flop top pair and future blockers. So I will go ahead and bet. It's going to be a pretty high frequency c-bet board for me, even in a multi-way pot. I know this guy's short, but we can call it off against him if need be. And checking on the queen 4-4. Turning a low gut shot, likely not too much value here. Check back range is relatively unprotected, so just gonna go ahead and take a stab. Ace, king, jack 9. I mean, it's a 6-way pot. I mean, let's see what we can flop. Not a bad flop. Not a great flop. You really don't want to be calling too much with these hands. to be honest, without a club here, I don't think I'm going to double barrel. Especially, we don't want to lose the value of our 10s here. And we did end up checking here, which we're obviously check folding. And so we are going to go for it again. I don't know how successful this is going to be six-way, but some very weak ranges in play, obviously, and we do have decent equity. Here, I mean, blocking like kind of the straight draws. I mean, this is just pretty straightforward fold. And we do turn the jack, and he has 15 big blinds, so we're just jamming. And yeah, you can see that the type of players with these sort of $1 bets, the bottom pair open-ended into 6 people. Very interesting lines. So we do get cold call. It's going to be a really low SPR, less than 1. We're obviously just jamming, open-ended, overpair, backdoor flush draw. And we do hold up. Here, I mean, in position, we really have almost no value in a check back. We do block some continues, but with just a bare 7 high flush draw, those are the types of hands where you can really improve your red line. In limp pots, when people are checking to you, they usually have very little interest. Snap bet here with I guess we do just call here without a heart. Not a great turn. But, I mean, a lot of his bets are going to be nut flush draws, so it actually probably reduces the amount of flushes that he have. I mean, this is way out of line, but we can go ahead and raise here. Not great, and the snap call, snap check. I mean, we obviously can't win. We do unblock hearts, so I think we have to go for it, but this is very low EV play. And we get snapped off by the 9 high flush. Yeah, so I guess takeaways. Don't attempt to bluff these 100 VPIP players too often, especially when they've shown interest in the pot. And this here is just nearly always a straight. Not deep enough whereby we really want to call here. Unfortunate turn, but yeah, against a player that's not aggressive and a player behind, I think we're just usually pretty dead here. Obviously, we would have riveted the effective nuts. Oh, wow, we were in very bad shape. I'm just going to complete here. Again, most of the times when I have nutted equity in these limp pots, I'm going to play in them. And we'll probably make this the last hand over here. And again, as the flop checks through, just a lot of blind aggression. We do block spades, we block clubs, we block a pair. We have potential straight draw blocker. And we can also bluff blank runouts. And we do take it down. I guess we'll play the aces here and make this the last hand. But yeah, as I said, guys, make sure that you subscribe. We're going to have a video coming out this week, which is going to allow you to enter into a drawing for 2 hours of free coaching. So look out for that video, and we'll give you some instructions on how to do that. Jack Queen 3. It's not the best board for us, for our range. For our hand, it's pretty good, but we're gonna have some checks. I think this hand is just too strong to check, as he will check back like some like Queen X hands, Jack X hands, that we do want to get value from. And we do turn an ace on the bottom right, on the bottom left, sorry. Four-way with ace king. Check through 3 times. I will go ahead and bet. There's some obviously ugly rivers, but we can definitely get called by many draws. We want to deny like some weak equity. This is a pretty good river, and I think... Do we think this guy's gonna bluff? I think it is very unlikely, given his stats. Against a normal player, I'm gonna be checking this all day. We do block, obviously, the ace. We block showdown value of like kings and a flush draw. I don't know if this guy's gonna bluff a full pot though. So I'm probably just gonna bet and just hope to get called by a weaker ace. I think we just get a snap fold, and we do get called. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for this session. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck at the tables out there.